Hello, Glenda Procter here of Cloud9 Ceremonies, the Queen of Hand Fasting, and I've been given this name by fellow celebrants, probably due to the number of hand fastings that I have conducted over the years. And the term hand fasting certainly applies to the full ceremony of cake and ale, jumping the broom, in outdoor spaces, in sacred spaces. And within that hand fasting ceremony will be a hand tying. But many couples are seeking just the hand tying. Not a sand ceremony, not a rose ceremony. For their wedding celebration or celebration of love, they are choosing to have a hand tying. So if you'd like to know more about hand fasting, there is a video on hand fasting, but this one is merely on hand tying. And I want to give you 6 tips to enable you to have the most beautiful hand fasting. And 1 relates to ribbons, 2 are the colours, 3 are the numbers you can choose, 4 is the position you stand in as you're being tied, 5 is the knot that is used, and 6 the vows that you make. So let's look at each of those in turn. The ribbons and braids. I strongly recommend that you make and create this bundle of ribbons yourselves, and you create it with love and sentiment coming from your hearts as you put in strips of fabric from a garment you once wore when you met, or an item from a late grandfather or mother, and the sentiment of this bundle will become very special to you in the years ahead. So ribbons and braids can be of any texture, any type, and they can be satin ribbons, they could be cords or lengths, cords from a guy rope or sewing cord or dental floss if you're a dental nurse. It really doesn't matter. These can all be incorporated and plaited in. Now you can create this all yourself, or you could ask your guests or family, maybe of 3 that can't get to your celebration, to create a plait and provide it for you. Alternatively, you could ask all your guests at your ceremony. I'm not saying 250 of them, but if there are a number there that are manageable, they could select a ribbon and place it on your hands and arms as you make your hand tying. So on to colours. You may have pre-thought this as you were creating your bundle of ribbons, and you decided that everything had to match what was going on in the coordination of your wedding colours. And that is a beautiful thing to do. And there will certainly be rich colours of gold and silver in there. You may wish to choose colours that relate to a swimming club or a football team, or even your school colours. Or maybe if you've got children, they want to choose their favourite ribbon and colour and add it to mummy and daddy's hand tying. So there we have it, colours. And numbers we've sort of touched on. And numbers can be as many as you like, but you do need 3 to plait. In fact, you can plait with 4. In truth, you can plait with 6, but I can't go into that now with you today. And then we come to the position you stand in, and that position depends whether you're going to be tied for the rest of the evening and till midnight, because in the days of old it was considered very correct that a couple would stay tied together till midnight. If they overcame all the adversities that life threw at them, they could certainly stay together for the rest of their lives. And it means that if you stay tied after your ceremony, you can then mingle and be with your wedding guests together, missing nothing and certainly not losing each other. So the position you stand in, if you're walking out, needs to be comfortable. How do you hold hands when you're together and you're walking out? And that would be how you hold hands. Alternatively, you may join right wrists, right hands, and join your pulses together, and that would leave your left hands free to be presented with the rings. You might like to form an infinity loop or a loop of eternity by joining all your hands together and having all 4 tied in the middle. But please make sure that you're actually tied together and the ribbons don't go around one set and not the other, because that defeats the object of tying you together. So your celebrant then, having established the position you're in, will use a knot. And the knots obviously vary, but you want something that is going to stay tied up. Not a granny knot, a nice strong reef knot to knot this off. And it needs to be tied in such a way that it's locked, that the looping round the wrist doesn't come undone. And it really doesn't matter how many times it goes round the wrist, and it will make a lovely bundle of ribbons and cords for you. And finally, and I think the most important thing that goes with any hand tying ceremony, are the vows you say to each other. And it could be that you would like to follow the tradition of your parents and grandparents and recite the words as so familiar in a union of a wedding ceremony. These can be added to by further vows, words of endearment, maybe Celtic, medieval, Viking type words and phrases to go into here. But I encourage you, with the help of your celebrant, to write these vows, make them personal and create them with love between you. And you can certainly keep them secret from each other. So that will be a surprise on the day. So there are 6 tips to help you with your hand fasting ceremony. And this is the hand tying part. Okay? Hand tying. Let's differentiate. Hand tying is the tying of the wrists and hands, and it may well be within a hand fasting ceremony, but a hand fasting ceremony is something different. But here we are talking about a hand tying, and this applies for anyone having a hand fasting, because of course within a hand fasting you have a hand tying. So there we have it. Loved you all. Enjoy the planning, enjoy the fun, don't get stressed about it, and if you can't make your own, Google and buy something online. It really doesn't matter. But the most important thing are the vows you say to one another and the commitment you make with love in your hearts. Bless you all.